Right, hello everyone, this is Jaden for Student Pages, back with another artist interview. Today we are joined by Nick Hodgson, who is the front runner of Everyone Says Hi.
Hi.
How are we doing today?
I'm all right. I'm good. Yes, I've had a busy day of doing stuff, interviews and various other things, and
In childcare, so
a tiny bit of childcare and a bit of songwriting and a bit of recording. And
nice mix of things. Right, so you've got the album coming out, Everyone Says Hi, but you've already got a ton of singles out. I listened to Lucky Stars and Brain Freeze myself. It's like, I've got to say, I'm just loving what you guys are doing, to be honest. It's like really, really great stuff. Again, it's like, to be honest, it's stupid not to mention that you were a part of Kaiser Chiefs. And it's like, I wasn't so much massively familiar, but sort of some of the bigger songs, it's like, obviously, everyone knows that sort of jam. But I've got to say, like, again, not trying to swing the right way, but it's like, I'm kind of preferring the newer stuff myself. Not gonna lie.
that's the end of the podcast.
So there's a lot of really obvious stuff regarding where you've come from, where you started, and stuff like that. But if you could just give the people at home a bit of a rundown as to where you've come from, how you got into the music industry in general, and why you chose to go that way.
Okay, well, I was born in Leeds, and I soon started to walk, talk, eat solids, and then a few years later, I started writing music. I was always in a band when I was even when I was little, I was 8, 9 or whatever. I was always trying to play music with whoever was around. And then I was probably about 12 and I started playing with Simon Ricks from the Kaiser Chiefs.
Oh yes,
we were in the same class, and he used to go to York University for
really?
1 year.
Oh right,
For
fair
1
enough.
year, yeah. So I've stayed there one night, a few nights actually, in York University in the halls.
I can't relate. It wasn't in halls myself, It's like, but again, had friends who were, and it's like some lovely living conditions there in the halls,
I slept under a sink once in York University halls.
Oh, it's funny, my friend Paddy slept in my wardrobe once, saying things that history has a way of repeating itself.
It's amazing how you can just be a student and get drunk, and
It's universal experience, isn't it?
yeah, it's because I think when you're that age, it's the first time you're ever let off the leash. Really, you don't have to go home. That's the bit.
True.
You've got no one to. When you're 18 or whatever, or before you go to university, you're walking around, you're getting back to your house where your mum and dad are.
It's a curfew. It's boring,
You've got to sneak in. There's a curfew. You've got to pretend you haven't been drinking.
Oh, honestly,
It's like, I'm going to sleep in the wardrobe tonight.
Yep, as you do.
Anyway, so I did all that, and then, but I was always in a band, even during that period, and then just it was my life. I was just obsessed with being in a band. I was obsessed with bands. I knew that my life had to be to do with bands, and so I was just, it was just a matter of trying as hard as I could with my friends to make it in a band. That's all it was. Just hard work and trying to be the best.
Yeah, and you're evidently got somewhere, clearly.
Yeah, I can't remember what the question was, but
just regarding, it's like how you actually got to where you are now. Like, just give us the story,
Yeah, I don't know. The thing is with us, the reason I got to where I am right here sat in this seat is because I'm a songwriter, so I've always written songs, and when you are writing songs, you do a lot of it. Like Noel Gallagher describes it as going fishing. So you play your guitar, you play the piano, and you just hope that something arrives. You know what I mean? You just hope that something good happens. But you've got to be doing it. You've got to keep doing it. So I think the reason I'm sat here today with doing what I do is because I was lucky enough to have it was pretty much I Predict a Riot. That song,
massive, wasn't it?
And what I can remember being in my flat in Leeds, playing a guitar, which is in that room, and coming out with that chorus and that verse and stuff. And so it's amazing what songwriting and music can do. And if you're lucky enough, you can go fishing and one will come into your head. And then so I Predict a Riot really kicked it all off. I mean, it opened all the doors for us. So we had loads of songs, and you just and you're always trying to strive for that other one, the next one that's as well, not just as good, but it just connects in the same way. And but I Predict a Riot is the reason, is how it all happened. I can put it down to just that.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, Kaiser Chiefs got loads of, songs that pretty much anyone, especially in the UK, had recognised. But it's like, yeah, definitely, I Predict a Riot. It's like everyone knows it, don't they? It's like comes on in clubs or like in pub or whatever. Everyone knows it. No one's gonna say, no one's gonna Shazam I Predict a Riot.
Yeah, that's funny. And I'm just honestly, that's like makes my life that having because I've been writing songs since I was a little kid. Just to have one, even I mean, there might be two, Ruby if you count Ruby, but
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
call it one. Just one that everyone still knows is great.
Yeah. But yeah, it's been a while, obviously, since the Kaiser Chiefs. Since you left them. I think you were. I read online you were 35, weren't you? And that was sort of your calling point.
I was 34 by about 1 month.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, when I did my last gig, I was 34, and I just because at that point I've always been obsessed with age, but I don't. I mean, obviously I'm older now, but
Yeah, I really was because that's what I read. That sort of, you always knew that you were going to get to a certain age, and that was going to be it for you. That was, your hopping off point.
I used to talk a load of rubbish, really, to be honest. And I remember saying that, but I never ever thought that.
Right.
So I remember thinking being 35 and being in a band is wrong or something. But I was just an idiot. There's nothing wrong with it at all.
No, absolutely. You shouldn't focus on the age and stuff. It's like, cause how's that phrase go? There's nothing wrong with being childish every now and again. It's like it's universal.
I definitely got a bit caught up in that. But I mean, there was millions of reasons why I left, and that wasn't even one. I don't know why I said that. I said it to the NME, and that became quite well known, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm guessing. But yeah, anyway, it's obviously been a while since that departure and stuff. So how would you say the new album and your new music has sort of developed you as an artist? Like, would you say you have a different way of going about things now compared to how you used to, or is it still a similar process?
I still write the exact same way, but I don't. I think okay, back then I was definitely writing songs that we could play live. I was always aiming at songs to play live.
Yeah.
And I think the difference is I'm probably writing songs to listen to on record now. Because I mean, we were never off tour, so when you're playing new songs, and say if you're famous and you're playing new songs, it's like it's not a great time.
They want to hear the hits.
So you want to hear the hits, but they also say if you write a new song and it's slow, you're going to lose pretty much 50% of the people to the bar or the toilet. Yeah. So the way I've changed is that I don't write for that crowd anymore. I don't write for a crowd. I write for. I just want to make like quite old-fashioned, much calmer.
Yeah, I got that vibe. I got that vibe when I listened to you.
I guess you just get old and you don't. I mean, I have not been to a nightclub for. I mean, it's got to be. I mean, I'm guessing when was it? It's got to be. Let's say 2010. Let's say 15 years.
You're not missing out on anything. Trust me, honestly. It's like it's just not worth it. It's never going to be worth it. To be fair, I doubt much has changed realistically.
Yeah, maybe 15 years. Yeah, so
yeah,
so I don't. But when I was writing those first Kaiser Chiefs songs, when we were writing those first Kaiser Chiefs songs, we were in like clubs like every 2 or 3 indie clubs every 3 nights. We were. It was so you were just sort of. And I DJ'd as well in indie clubs, so you were just always try to make noise that would fit into that environment. And now
Yeah.
I'd rather listen to a record. And
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think equally, the space has changed a lot, hasn't it? Because I think, you're probably not the only one who's had that sort of a shift. Because it's like you can do one thing for a certain amount of time, but it's going to get boring, isn't it? And that doesn't just go for like the creatives; that goes for the listeners as well. It's like I don't think there's ever going to be a point in time where people find a type of music and like it forever. It's like no, everything fluctuates.
yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah. So I guess that makes sense, really.
Yeah, I like it. It's a nice development.
Yeah,
And I got
absolutely.
songs that you got to write songs that I can sing as well. That's important.
Yeah, no, because you didn't. I was going to say you didn't sing for Kaiser Chiefs at all, did you? As far as I know.
I mean, no, I'd sang backing vocals and I sang in, live. I would always sing, but I was never. No, I did a couple of songs like lead vocals, but it was Ricky always singing lead vocals, really. And so his voice is a lot more powerful, a lot sort of bigger than mine. So
Yeah.
I've got a lot of songs that fit my voice as well.
I was going to say because you're doing a lot more in the new band, aren't you? And everyone says hi. It's like you're sort of the lead guy of it all, really. I suppose. Not to discredit anyone else as a part of it, but like, yeah, no, you've got pretty big stakes in that one.
Yeah, that's true. I like it though. I like being at the front. I like it gives you a completely different perspective on stage when you're playing live because you feel like you're really communicating as opposed to being at the back.
Yeah, it's more of an intimate experience, I guess. Then.
Yeah, it is because you can actually have conversations with people in the front row. And
Yeah, because I imagine all the old concerts still have been like security on headlock and stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, there's a big gap, isn't there? But I like it. I love being at the front. I think I've always been a frustrated singer
yeah.
or front person. Yeah.
I mean, there's a ton of pressure with it, really, isn't there? I suppose, but equally, it's like again, like you said, I suppose if you're prepared for that, if that's the kind of thing that you wanted, it's like I'm assuming, it wasn't all that difficult of a decision to make, I guess, to sort of go right. I want to do this, not on my own, but I want to have a bigger part in it. I guess it can't have been that difficult a decision in the end.
No. Also, I don't think there was there wasn't any pressure because no one cared really. So I just, I think when you're the drummer in Kaiser Chiefs, you're not famous. You're in a famous band.
Yeah, it's like everyone knows your works, but no one really knows the face behind it.
Yeah. So there was no pressure to be anything really. So yeah, I loved it. I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, no, it's great. So, like, again, bit more of a personal question, I suppose, but it's like on the journey to where you are now and stuff. I think all music artists to some degree get criticism, But like, would you say you've had like any instances of anyone coming forward and saying, you really shouldn't do this, this is a bad decision or anything like that? Or has it always been really positive feedback that you've gotten from your music and your decisions and stuff?
What period are you talking about? Like being a youngster or?
I suppose, yeah, like both pursuing it in the first place, but also the recent transitions and stuff. Well, not even recent, really, sort of.
Oh, really? Yeah. I mean, there was always people that I think what it was you'd meet somebody who said, "Oh, I used to be in a band. I used to do this podcast in lockdown, and it's called Do you know how many bands there are?" And it was called that because people would say that to you. Like if you told them when you're sort of 19, you go, "Oh, I'm in a band. I'm going to be in a band." They go, "Do you know how many bands there are?"
Yeah, now that you're going to be drowned out and stuff.
People always try to put you off. I think because it made them feel better.
Yeah, because people hate to see people going for something they actually want to do. I think it's people who are in jobs that sort of bog them down. It's like they kind of don't want to see that happen. They wish it were them.
Yeah, I can picture one person in particular. I was about 19, and this person had been in a band, and he'd been on John Peel, like on Radio One, and done a session and stuff, and he'd done reasonably well, but he was now stuck in a real, proper proper sort of job that was quite dull. And I don't think he didn't encourage me. He was just very, oh, it's a shit business, you know.
Yeah.
But I didn't care. I didn't care at all. I was very much. I didn't care. I just
Yeah.
thought, you know, whenever anyone said anything negative or it was going to be, you know, you'll never make it, blah blah blah, which happened a lot because we were in a band before Kaiser Chiefs, and we were called Parva, and we got a record deal, and we got dropped, and we got turned down, and then so Parva then got dropped and then turned down again by everyone because we tried to get signed again, but we couldn't get signed again. And then we started Kaiser Chiefs, and because we'd been dropped in our previous incarnation, everybody turned us down again.
Yeah. Because Parva, just to double check, Parva was the same guys as Kaiser Chiefs, wasn't it?
Same people,
yeah. Yeah.
Same people. So we got turned down by every label back in sort of 2004, apart from one, and it was, you only need one really. But so we were just like built on rejection, which I think really spurred us on.
It's character building, isn't it, really?
You know, it really massively was the fire. I remember thinking it is the fuel for the fire here. And I never, ever gave up. And none of us ever gave up. We always just thought, you know, the next song will do it. The next song will do it.
I suppose eventually it did, then.
Yeah. Never give up, guys.
Absolutely, yeah. Because, again, like I said, I do think that goes for like a majority of like, you know, sort of creative industries. You know, it's like, because they are very difficult things to get into, whether you're, you know, wanting to start a band like yourself or like, you know, make your own films or whatever. It's like, it's difficult, isn't it? Because people don't want to see that happen. Because, like you said, it's like, you know, they don't really want to see people doing something they probably wish they could do deep down. But also, yeah, it's a very, very competitive space to get into, you know, the entertainment industry.
Yeah. You've got to, yeah, I mean, if you believe, I mean, I believed, guys. And it wasn't, I don't know, it seems odd, really, how much my belief was when I think about it. It's kind of different to how it is now, because now I just think it's great that I'm doing this interview with you, because, you know, somebody's tried to get this interview, and I'm just grateful for all the little bits that are, these are all like the whole thing now is like extra.
Yeah,
I've done
absolutely.
the big, you know, conquer the world thing. Tell you what though, if I hadn't been in a band that did, like, you know, did what I wanted to do, I think I'd just be I don't know how I would be feeling now. I'll be a very different person.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I suppose you know, like you said, you've done the big grandiose thing, sort of had your moment there, and now you get to pursue something that actually you more want to do. It's sort of giving you that experience, and now you get to move on to something that's a bit more personal.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, and also I don't have the sort of big grand. You know, I don't believe. I believed back when I was 25 that, you know, we'll just go around the world and be massive, but I don't. You know, I just want to make music now.
Yeah.
And get on stage, and I like any stage, the small, I like them all, so I'm happy.
Yeah. So I mean, less of a question and more of an assumption on my part, but I'm assuming like because you know you're working more now with people that you know are following, not so much following, but adding to your vision in a sense. Whereas before it was sort of you had to work to, like I think you did mention this earlier on, you sort of had to work to what people were wanting. So now would you argue it's more of a case of it's like you're actually making music for you and for the people directly around you, and you just want to see if people, you know, connect to it and enjoy it, and if they do, good. If they don't, it's like it's fine.
Yeah. Oh, it is interesting that, because at first when we started writing all those first Kaiser Chiefs songs, we weren't putting it through filters of other people or fans, because we didn't have any fans. We didn't
Yeah.
have any management. We didn't have any record label, so we just wrote the songs, and it did feel very free. And then 3 albums in, or 3 albums in, the
Oh.
levels of filters between me trying to come up with a song and then it coming out of it, you're filtering through like, okay, does the rest of the band like this? Does the audience like this? Do the fans like this? Does the enemy like this?
Yeah.
Will journalists slag me off for this? You're just like bombarded with a load of like, it just drives you totally insane. You can't write a song anymore because you're just filtering through so many layers, and it's not good. So now the layers have gone.
Yeah, it's got to be a good feeling. I mean, again, you can really tell just sort of in like the difference to how the music like carries itself. As I say, the 2 tracks I listened to, it's like, yeah, it really does. You know, everything you're saying to me comes across in the music, if that makes sense. It's sort of like you can really tell the story that's, you know, where it's come from, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I just I wonder if we'll get massive on this album and it'll all come back and I won't be able to write a song again.
I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? Because you know, now you don't sort of have to go through the learning process like most bands do. It's like you have the experience, you have the knowledge, and it's like you know the industry. So I suppose really, you know, it is just a case of seeing if people like it. You know, yeah, all the other stuff, all the baby steps leading up to that, are already out of the way.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and everyone in the band has done similar things as well because they've all been in bands and um, they've all had like levels of success as well, which is really good. So everyone's pretty calm.
Yeah,
everyone's chilled.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of what you want, isn't it? You know, it's like it's nice to have a collaborative workspace, no matter where you are. Not at each other's necks all the time.
No, that has not happened at all.
I mean, that's good, but it's rare.
It is rare, isn't it?
Yeah, no, honestly, like just service jobs and stuff. It's like I've had some right run-ins, but
What's your worst job?
mine, oh, I mean, I'm not going to name any names, but it's like I worked at a pub back home. It was my first ever job. I think I was 16, 17 maybe. It's like the owner guy was awful. You know, he hired me under the knowledge that I'd never worked a job in my life before. And again, it was bar work, which I don't even think I was meant to be doing at the time. But he was awful. You know what I mean? He very, very critical, very shouty. And it got to the point where he gave me an ultimatum. It was like, right, you stay here. I'm going to keep being hard on you, or you can walk out. I was like, right, I'm off then. So, because you get people like that. You get people like that. You know, again, it's like it's fortunate not to run into people like that, especially in places of management or probably in the music industry. You know, like labels and stuff. It's like they can be critical, and it's sort of just a case of drawing the line and saying, this isn't worth the good things anymore. It's like it's time to drop it.
Yeah, I mean, I've experienced that as well with getting bad reviews and stuff, and it would start to get to a point where you've been because our band got big, and then the way that the British media kind of works, or the papers or whatever, music journalism tends to be like, well, build them up to knock them down.
Yeah.
And so then you'd be on the receiving end of a load of, and I would just like ignore. I'd have to just, I would never read a review. I'd never read an interview. Never read anything about it.
I mean, it's better to really, because then not to diss journalists, given that I am one, but it's like they're just trying to get a story out of you. It's like they'll be wanting to see an explosion. They'll be wanting to see this backlash online or whatever, or to get one of you to say something you don't mean to them, and then that'll be it. Then they've got their front page. It's that's how the industry works.
That changed between our first album and the second album, where we suddenly realized that whatever you say, it doesn't matter how in depth you are about something. If you say one thing that you might regret, that was the thing that they pulled out, and it would stick around. And then you get cagey.
Yeah.
And you stop and you give much more boring answers. Really, it's like the internet has done lots of things, and one of them is it has has reduced interviews to quite boring pieces of writing.
Yeah.
You, you don't get those. I mean, apart from when Liam Gallagher or Noel Gallagher are talking, but
Anything either of them two have to say is like, oh my goodness, them two baffle me to this day. To be honest, like that's some celebrity drama that I just think is fascinating.
yeah, it must be weird because I mean, I remember with them being there in my sort of when I was 16, you know, and I grew up with it. And so that was when you're in a band, and that was how bands talked about other bands. You know, they would be slagging them off,
Yeah.
and now it's, but for me that feels very normal, that because I grew up with it. But for you, who's a lot younger, you must think that's weird the way that they talk.
Yeah, I mean, I think it sort of transcends time, really. It's like, again, I don't think it really matters who it's coming from. Just like negativity is what powers so much of the internet and so much of the news and stuff like that. And frankly, I think it's sad because it's like, I'd rather be sat here listening to, a really quite nice story like your own about like, where you've come from and stuff like that, as opposed to, so and so's fallen out with so and so because they unfollowed someone on Instagram. I just think it's tiresome.
Yeah, I try and disengage with all that.
It's funny because we were going to actually ask about social media and to what degree like you use it and how you've utilized it and what effect it's had on your career and stuff. So it's like, how would you describe your relationship with it all? Are you quite distant or are you involved?
Well, I mean, I really like putting. I've always like, so here we go. I've got this. I found these old camcorder videos of me talking in the 90s, talking to the camcorder and just filming it and filming songs and doing funny stuff, magic and crap like that.
Yeah.
Not magic to any level. It was just total. I was trying to do camera tricks. Anyway, and so I didn't. Those videos never went anywhere, and now. But I've always liked putting videos out, doing videos, funny things, and I went on TikTok about, it's got to be like 3 years ago, 2 years ago maybe, and I really enjoyed it, and it's gone a bit, it's changed a bit now on TikTok, but I did enjoy putting like mad videos up
Yeah.
and just seeing what happens. And sometimes they went really big, like, and sometimes I do like a behind the song, and I do some old songs and new songs, and sometimes it'd get really big, and I really, it is exciting.
Yeah.
And then I think TikTok's gone weird. I don't get any views anymore.
I'll tell you what it is. It's like the algorithm of, this goes for YouTube as well, like YouTube and TikTok and stuff. They have to change their algorithm to fit user engagement and stuff. And it's like, we are living in a period of people just watching absolute rubbish. You know what I mean? Seriously, it's like the stuff that gets big these days. And again, I fall victim to it myself as well. It's sort of like, the age where you could put a funny video or an actual informative video up online and it'd do bits. It's like, no, you almost need to check boxes these days to have your social media utilized. It's like you need the right tags, you need the right, promotion, you need the right thumbnail, you need the right title. And it's just, it's so different to how things used to be.
It's quite hard, that, yeah. So sometimes I do really like doing funny videos. Oh, videos really. But yeah, I found that there's the engagement has just dropped off a hill, so dropped off a cliff actually.
Yeah, no, it is. It's a nightmare. You're not the only one.
Well, I'm not that in. I mean, I've gone off TikTok a lot, and then Instagram seems quite serious, I think.
Yeah.
I like doing TikTok videos that will never make it to Instagram because they're too stupid. And like, if I put them on Instagram, I'd be embarrassed because it feels like the grown-ups sort of play.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
TikTok's a bit of a kind of, I think it's like an experimental. I do silly things on that, and if they were on, I suppose also because none of my friends or family follow me on TikTok. So if I did, I could do whatever I like. I can just.
So they can't pull it up at the pub and say that's you.
Yeah. No one sees it. Nobody sees it. No one I know sees my TikTok.
It's interesting. It's interesting you mentioned about Instagram actually, because I do think Instagram these days is kind of the more safe middle ground of social media. It's like you say, you got TikTok for the absolute loony stuff. You got Instagram sort of as this middle space. Don't even get me started on Twitter. No one needs to go near Twitter.
I've gone off it. I mean, I haven't deleted my account, but I've deleted the app.
Smart move, trust me, smart move.
I find that there's a couple of others. You know, the two threads and Blue Sky.
Oh yeah, nah.
They're just boring.
Yeah, but I mean,
it's like because I want controversy and I want crazy stuff.
Yeah,
I just think it's random and not that good. So I've deleted them off my phone as well.
Yeah, smart move, honestly.
Instagram and TikTok now. But I don't like spending. Obviously you can spend hours. So and it doesn't matter what age you are as well, because my in-laws are pretty old, right? They were old parents, and they're like 80. I think my mother-in-law's 87, maybe.
Yeah.
But my father-in-law's 85. He's on his phone like teenager.
Yeah, no, doom scrolling, I think, is the term. Like when you start scrolling and then suddenly you can't stop.
If he's scrolling, I don't know what he's doing. He's searching stuff.
Right.
He wants to know how old somebody is, or.
I mean, yeah, fair deal. So completely moving topic, I suppose. How important would you say it is as a creative, or especially in your shoes as a music producer? How important would you say it is to find other people that do a similar thing and or are willing to work with you? Like, do you think that is something that's almost necessary, or do you think some people can work on their own? Like,
been extremely lucky like that, yeah. I've got a nephew who is he's 12 and he's so into bands. He loves metal, he loves Metallica, he loves Megadeth and loads of metal. Basically, he plays the guitar he's playing the guitar all the time. He's gone to big school, and I've gone, are there any kids that are into this stuff that you're into? And he's like, no one. And it's a disaster, because basically if there was two kids who were totally into Metallica, he would be, he'd be in a band, and that would be his life then.
Yeah. No, give him 10 years and then everyone around him will love Metallica suddenly,
Looking good, yeah. So he's like, but when I was a kid, like, it was pretty easy to find people who were, I mean, especially Simon, the bass player from Kaiser Chiefs. I met him like on first day of school, and we were friends straight away, and had, his dad was in a band, and so he had drums and all sorts of instruments and things, and so like that was us, that we were locked in early doors making music. So yeah, finding people is really, really important. And so I've been lucky all through my musical time, I think, because the people in Everyone Says Hi are all amazing, and I love them all, and we have lots of fun and honestly, when we start playing the music, it's a good feeling. Everyone's great. Yeah,
nah. I mean, that's fantastic. I think you've been obviously really fortunate to find, never mind once, but twice, a group of people that you can make music with. And again, it's been pretty much not necessarily instant, because as you said, it's like it took a while to get going. But case in point is, from the get-go, you've been able to make music. Whether or not you can get it out, whether or not you got someone to get it out there for you. It's like, at the very least, you've been able to make it, and that's more than a lot of people can say.
Yeah, it's true.
Because again, I know a lot of people who, and I've known people in the past where they've had really big ideas and they've had projects they want to get started on. They've known the right people, and then they've just not gone ahead with it. And I think it's always sad to see. Yeah, it's very, very common these days. Because again, like you said earlier, people are put off by people telling them it's not worth it, people tell them it's, a waste of time, whatever. And they just sort of give up after a while. And it's very, very sad to see. So when there are times that it breaks through and it all works out well, it's refreshing to hear.
Yeah, I mean, I do feel bad for those people. I think it's a difficult world to go into right now. I think the one thing that doesn't change though is songs. If you can write the best songs, or the songs that affect people, or do whatever, that is more powerful than. And in the end, I'm not saying it's going to be instant, but in the end, it will be all right.
Yeah.
I think it's very daunting. I think launching something these days with, I don't know, it must be awful if you have to. I mean, I do TikTok because I like it, and I'm fortunate because I've done my main job.
You've had the presence. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. It'd be hard. I mean, I would if I was born in 2010, say, and I was trying to do it now. I'm sure I would. I don't know. Do you know what I would probably do?
Go on.
Probably do the opposite of what everyone's doing.
Smart. Okay. Yeah, I'm with you.
Take it offline. Go completely offline. Do it. So if it's not working for everyone who's trying really hard to fit in and do what everyone else is doing, then I'd go for the opposite.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's already a hard world to get into. So I suppose, yeah, if you're doing something no one else is doing, it's about finding that gap in the market, I guess.
Yeah, but let them come to you. If you just be good, great songs. And this is my advice to anyone in a band. Be the best, great songs, but don't stick anything online. I fucking hate going to a gig of a band that's like new. They've only been going for like a month or whatever, and they go, "This is our new single," and it's not your new single. Fucking song that you've uploaded to the internet. That doesn't make it a single.
Yeah, no, it's rough.
So I think go offline, do it old school.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That I mean that does make sense, doesn't it? Actually, yeah, it's proper smart. That.
We'll have to see.
Yeah.
Let's try an experiment. Who's gonna listen to this podcast?
Oh, goodness knows. Honestly, it's we sort of we put it on. I believe these go on like a YouTube, Instagram sort of thing. And then they also go on like the online publication. Then I think student pages have a magazine that they also, promote and say that we've got these available and that.
Yeah, so maybe someone will hear it.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, the magazine, as far as I know, does pretty well because I actually the way I started working with these guys is because I found their magazine like in my student lobby. And yeah, it's like, as far as I know, it's like, as far as universities go, I think it's everywhere. I think this is like one of the leading student publications.
Oh, is it? Is it not just York? It's everywhere.
Oh no, yeah, it's I don't even think the company's based in York. It's just me that's based there. I just appeared in their emails out of nowhere. It's like, do you want a guy to front your interviews? I hardly do Oprah.
That's good.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun as well. I just like speaking to people. But I mean, yeah, it's like so go on then. I do this. I do all my stuff. What sort of things do you do in your spare time to sort of keep you occupied?
I don't have any spare time.
Yeah, I suppose that makes sense.
No, I do. My spare time. Do you know what it is? Right? Do you know what I do in my spare time?
Go on.
Because I've got a child also. So, like, I'd be cooking at this point. I'd be doing things towards, that kind of world, dad world, as I call it. And then in the daytime, I'm doing studio stuff. And then in my spare time, all I do is watch telly.
Really? What are you watching at the minute?
I'm currently on a Star Wars little what's the word? I don't know. Phase. I'm on a little Star Wars phase.
Right.
So I can, yeah, I've got, if I, I don't know, I'll get into little phases. So I'll just watch, I'm halfway through The Force Awakens.
Oh, wait, which one's that? I'm trying to think. Is that the 7th?
And yeah, that's
Yeah.
Ray, and it's great.
Yeah.
I love it. So whenever I've got spare time, I'm also learning Spanish as well. So
All right.
I do that. That's not spare time though. That's Spanish time.
Well, yeah, it's hardly an hobby at that point. It's an obligation once you've started.
I know it is. It really is.
She put a Spanish verse in one of your songs.
I will.
Yeah.
Consider it done.
Nice one. I want royalties on that though. If you're going to go ahead with that now.
Yeah, you can have them.
Nice one.
100%.
Love it. So again, we obviously touched on it, but I think we should go more in depth. You know, what sort of advice would you give to students that are wanting to break into music industry? You said before, try something original, go offline and stuff. But as far as, you know, actually the core sort of things that you need to get in, what would you say is really important?
Okay, I think two things. One is, if it's to do with songs, you really do have to write songs that you think people are going to like. Okay, it doesn't have to just be. I mean, if you want to make it, you've got to really work on the songs. Write all the time. Write. Don't worry about recording. I find a lot of young bands spend 3 months like making a demo of one song,
Yeah.
and then you're like, well, it's not that good. The song isn't that good. In those 3 months, you could have written 50 songs,
Yeah.
and one of them was going to be better. So I wouldn't get too hung up on that. Um, just I think it's all about songs. Just keep writing, and if you write a song that suddenly you feel like, oh wow, this is actually better than all my other songs, because you will get there. You'll get to that bit if you keep going out and trying to just fishing for songs. One will come if you keep trying. One will come, and you'll go, oh right, this is loads better than all the others. And
Yeah.
then don't send those long emails to record companies because they're not bothered.
Yeah.
Um, if you're good enough, someone will find you.
Yeah, get talent scouted after a while, I suppose.
At some point, something will happen.
I do think a majority of time, surely it's like inevitable that if you keep at something, it's going to kick off at some point.
If it's good, I mean, it's got to be the best.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to say if it's nothing, it's not going to make a difference, is it?
Yeah, I do think there's no substitute for having great songs. I really do think, and I think there are people nowadays. You do get a lot of people trying to figure out what the substitute is for a great song, and whether that's like a video on TikTok that is particularly uh, potentially viral. That isn't a substitute.
That's going to make you a social media influencer. It's not going to make you a musician.
Yeah, and there's a lot of that as well. I don't know. Just yeah, I do see that whole thing about demos, spending far too long on a demo because you can. That's the thing. You can you can make stuff that's you can make a demo that sounds really, really good because you can these days. And before you couldn't. You had to do it in a studio. Now you can just do it in your house. But don't be tempted, I'd say. Just keep writing.
Yeah.
Something will happen.
Yeah, yeah, because I've known people work on like the melody before the lyrics. It's like I mean that's one way of doing it, but it does baffle me ever so slightly. You know what I mean? It's like how can you come up? Yeah, because it's like how can you come up with a rhythm or like a theme for your song without actually hearing the words first and knowing what it's meant to be about? So it's all well and good making an upbeat melody, and then it's about a dying dog. You know what I mean? It's like it's not gonna make any sense.
No, you're right. No, you need to avoid that.
So for you
We did
then,
actually have a
what?
song. We did have a song that said, "This is in Father." It went, "Please don't sweat, the dog is dead. Please don't sweat, the dog is dead." And there you go.
Right. Foreshadowing there. So go on then. What would you say has been like the biggest hurdle you've had to go over so far? You know, like what would you say is the most difficult decision or most difficult challenge you've had to go through?
I think the most challenging challenge was when trying to get signed for the second time, and we were definitely seen as damaged goods because we'd been dropped, and that was the biggest challenge ever. Yeah, we literally. I remember we got single of the week in NME for our demo single, and then the phone started ringing. And I got all these phone calls and emails and stuff from people in the record industry, and as soon as they were all really interested because we had NME single of the week, which is amazing. As soon as they found out we'd been in this band Parva and we'd been dropped, everyone just stopped. No one was interested anymore. So even then, we still got turned down.
It's like you got a stamp on your record.
Yeah. So we were really that was the biggest challenge, the biggest hurdle, and then it takes one person really to take some to take to be brave enough to go with something that is damaged goods, in their words. I remember once somebody, our manager, sorry, as our manager, he told us once that somebody had said to him, "They're too old and they used to be parva, and that's why they stopped. They're too old and they used to be parva." And I've heard worse things about uh, why people turn us down, but I won't even say them because it's not very kind.
Oh, right.
But to other people in the band, uh, and I've heard people say to my face why they turned us down, and it was and so I
Pretty
mean, yeah,
blunt.
we had a serious challenge. That was our big challenge, yeah.
Yeah, no. Yeah, the fact that you came back from that, to be fair, is ridiculously. I think it's both impressive on your end, but also just lucky. You know, it's like that's a big stroke of luck.
We once so I would see a lot of these people, but the time that I saw all the people that turned us down all in one place was at the Brits. So they'd turned us down about 2 years before, and we won 3 Brits that night. And I kept seeing people, and I was holding,
It's sort of there, like you know.
and they would always say the same thing. I wanted to sign you, mate. I wanted to sign you. It was my boss that didn't. I was thinking, well, this can't. Not every label can have the same reason.
Yeah, I don't know if you know about the beef between like Vin Diesel and The Rock, but there was a clip recently where one of them went up to stage to get an award, and he just went, "Hey, Dwayne," like that. Like, it's sort of gives me the same feeling as that.
I like that. That's good. That's fire as well. That's fuel to the fire.
Absolutely, you know. Right, so I suppose, yeah, I've taken up 50 minutes of your time already. I suppose we better sum it up. So you've got, oh, I'm trying to remember now because you've got that much going on. You've got a tour coming up, haven't you, between the 27th and the 7th? Am I right, or is it 27th and the 9th?
Yeah, that's right. So it's a bit. I'd go on the website or something and check it out because we've got in stores in the week of release. The album comes out on the 31st, Friday the 31st, and then for a week from the 31st, we're doing in stores every day
Clever.
to blog the album. But before that, we've got a gig in Lancaster, which I've never played in Lancaster in my whole life. That's on the 27th, on Monday the 27th. Got Sunday brunch on the 26th, which is fun, and 20, and then Philadelphia 28th. So there's lots of ways to see us.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like, yeah, because I'm assuming, you know, it will be on all streaming sites and such once it's out.
Yeah, unless something terrible happens. Yeah,
You know, it's like Musk could blow up the internet. We don't know yet. Time will tell.
yeah. That as long as they wait. So I saw that there was some sort of Instagram meta. People were trying to encourage a boycott against it, and I was like, yeah, I'm all in favour and everything, but can you not do it on the week of release?
Yeah, no, let's promote it first, and then you can do your takedowns and that.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Right. All right. We'll call it there then. Thank you ever so much for talking to me. It's been
Yeah,
wonderful.
you're welcome. Yeah, nice to talk to you.
Nice one. Cheers.
All right, bye then. See ya.
See you later.